Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Debbie and I have an overwhelming love of mixed media art. It's, even though I've been painting since last century, sounds weird but true, sadly, I have come to mixed media art in the last 7-ish years actually, and I basically arrived at this point because even though I've always loved art, I've loved making marks, I've loved making pictures, but there was always something missing. There was always a step that I felt I needed to take that I didn't think it was allowed. Use air quotes. You know, you're painting watercolor, you paint watercolor, and you get what you get and you don't throw a fit about it. Same with oil paints, same with acrylic paint. That's what you've chosen to do. You're a pencil artist, so use a pencil. The idea of piling on huge amounts of different media was absolutely unheard of when I was growing up. Nobody would talk about that sort of thing. You know, you'd admit to just about any dark family secret before you'd admit to being a person who used more than one sort of media. Obviously, watercolor artists have been adding highlights in white gouache and using dip pens for a long time, and pen and ink is a thing, and technically that's all mixed media. So yeah, I do know that there are things that have been around, but mixed media the way we do it now, totally different. However, let us not get sidetracked, because today is actually an art haul and a swatching. The reason I use the mixed media reference is because it's all sorts of stuff here, and if you're new to this, it may be very difficult to see how it all fits together and why one person who is basically out and about in the community without a carer has decided to spend money on so many different art materials. You know, it's kind of a pick a side thing. Well, not anymore. So that's hence the reference to mixed media, that all of the things you're going to see in this art haul, they're all over the place and they all fit together beautifully. Before we get to that, let's do the housekeeping. Please leave a like and subscribe, and do leave a comment if you have the time. I try to get back to all of them. It's been a bit of a drag just lately because I really want to prioritize the time to make sure that I answer your comments properly. But we're moving house at the moment, so it's one of those things, and I'm doing my absolute best. So forgive me if I haven't answered. I will try to get to all of them. If you like what you see here and you think that mixed media is something you might be curious about, please check out my other videos and also consider joining my Patreon. The link is in the description box below. It's a couple of clicks and you're there, and there are lots and lots and lots of videos. Basically, I run my Patreon like an art school, and it's all in English. All of the tuition's in English. So I live in Germany, so if it comes up in German, don't panic. All the teaching stuff is in English and everything else will be too. It happens sometimes to some people and I've no idea why. The randomness of the universe. So do check it out, and there you will learn how I marry all of the things together that I tend to buy. Right, back at it. So like I said, this is all about mixed media, this haul. Some of the things in here aren't even art, I don't think. It's something I've picked up that I'm going to use as art, and we'll get to that in a second. So let's see what we've got here. Now, let's start with this one. A couple of weeks ago, I bought some little nibs. Let me have a look here. Let me see if I got the right... I got the right one straight away. These little guys with a very, very strange end compared to some of my others that are sort of open. The open ones will fit about any holder that you have kicking around the house. And at Christmas, I found my dad's old things from the 1970s. He was a draftsman in the 70s. So original tin. So most of them have got this sort of little open half round scoop end, and they fit in to whatever random holder you might have. I've got what happened. This is new, but the rest were in the box. These are also new. The rest was in the box. So whatever I had here was what I had to use. And I didn't know if I'd like dip pen. I've basically spent a whole lifetime dedicating my every waking moment to avoiding using ink. I don't know why either. So I don't know whether I was frightened of it, because it's definitely in the past now. I'm now using ink, and it's thanks to the find of this little box in a chest in the house. And I thought, you know what? This is a sign I'm going to give it a go. But up till now, I've always used fine liners, so things that look very much like this. Basically, I still love these. They're convenient, but they're nowhere near as good as a dip pen and ink. So if you've ever wondered about making the transition yourself, do it. It's wonderful. You can't get such fine, beautiful lines with the markers, the fine liners. They work fabulously well, but there are limitations. I mean, there's limitations on everything, so there'll be limitations on these as well. But you can choose your colours with these. You can choose your ink with these. Is it going to be a drawing ink? Is it going to be an acrylic ink? You get to choose, and that's brilliant too. So I've done some of what I think looks like my best work since discovering dip pens. So I bought these a bit ago, and they're in my unboxing in the garden video, and these are different, and I didn't see that on the website, probably because I didn't look, because I'm guilty of that, rushing and sort of buying and everything and not looking. And of course they didn't fit a single one of my handles. However, a couple of you very kindly did recommend this handle, and I can see by the nibs that have come with it that one of them is almost identical. So let's have a look and see what's in here. So we've got this nice yellow handle, and the first thing I'm going to do is, of course, oh, I see, it's got 3 options. That's really good. And of course, one of them fits perfectly. So thank you to everybody who recommended this brand of pen. It's not one I probably would have gone looking for, because quite often I will compartmentalize my art, and I'll look at this and say, oh, that's for people who do manga. I don't do manga, so I'm not buying it. And that's the end of that. I won't, which is really stupid, because of course we can all use these things. And this little set has come with this fabulous handle, 3 nibs, which I will come to terms with. And oh, I see some very smooth paper. So that's nice. Right, good. I will look into that and see what else these nibs can do as well. But yes, thank you very much for encouraging me to think outside the little square that I like to live in. Leave all those for a second. This is the next thing. I've seen a few people using these. Let's see if I can get it up. Gosh, okay, so it just springs out, and you've got this little water container. That's great for being on the go, and it goes together nicely, so that's wonderful. But this is what I'm after, is this little sealable palette, which I'd like to put my gouache in. As I said, we're moving house, so I'm sort of thinking that for a short time at least, I'm going to have to go from having my studio where everything's laid out and I can do what I like. I'm going to have to swap to a smaller area for at least a time, whilst we get sorted out. So I thought this would be really good to put some of my very, very favourite gouache into, and then I can make some decisions. It's smaller and I don't need my big one, which for comparison is a lot bigger. This is not as easy to put in a suitcase. We're sort of not sure yet where we're going, whether it's going to be staying in Germany or moving back to the UK. So just in case it's moving back to the UK, I have to think portable. So this is the reason for this little palette. It's a nice one. It's just from an Amazon. It's not a brand one. And it comes with this, which has got some little pen holders, or rather brush holders, should I say. Finished with pens now, sort of moving on. It's, oh God, bloody thing's alive. I'm not sure if you can see that because of where the camera is, but it's really convenient. There are also some little indentations that you can pop it in there, and the whole thing goes back together somehow, which I shall practice. That's somehow it goes back there. Oh, I see. Quite easily, in fact. it goes back together and forms a compact little unit. So like I said, that's an Amazon find, and it's not it's not branded, it's not necessarily a good one, but it's as good as any other I've ever seen. This is a Hahnemuhle sketchbook. We can use this today for sketching or swatching some of these paints out that I've bought. This is the cold pressed watercolor one. I am addicted to the Hahnemuhle nostalgia range, which is not necessarily for wet media, but it sort of is. It's one of those wonderful things. I believe it's marketed as a drawing one, but it takes mixed media and it takes lots of wet media, which I use. As you'll have seen in my last video, I tend to use wet media first, except for some pastels. And I work wet to dry, except for some pastels, as a rule. So I need something that is going to accept layers of wet media without buckling and going stupid. And the Hahnemuhle ones are great. You almost certainly won't be able to see here how, what the paper's like. It's got a fine grain. It's cold pressed, but it's not the really, really nubbly watercolor that I love, and that, funny enough, super granulating watercolor loves that as well, because it likes something to get in and around. But it's a really, really nice compromise between texture and no texture. And the Hahnemuhle nostalgia range is completely flat. It's got no texture at all, which means it's better for things like colored pencils and dip pens, although you can use those in here too. If you use a color pencil in here, it won't give you the same fine lines and fine details. It'll tend to sit on the surface of any textures, but it is possible. Actually, this is in a watercolor book, working on this the last couple of days. I started this one yesterday and I was really, really stressed. You know what it's like moving house. It's just one of those things. And contemplating moving countries, of course, adds to it. This is today's and it's much looser and more sort of relaxed. It's really weird, but I'm going to keep that and not touch it because I can see how tight that tree is. It's tight and controlled, which gives me an indication that I feel as though my world at the moment isn't tight and controlled. So it's really weird to see how all these things come out in my art. But this side is not finished. This will be in a roundup for June. You'll see it then. But you can already see the difference between this nasty little ball of a tree and these sort of the preparation here for something a little bit more sort of fluid. However, the point was, this is the same paper. It's the same sketchbook. They have different covers so that you can see. And the dip pen works and the colored pencil works, but you get much more textural variation because of the rougher paper. Whereas my usual love, the Hahnemuhle nostalgia range, is smooth and you get a totally different look. Right, so this is a new sketchbook, and the weird thing about this is up till now I've always bought the A5s, which are half this big, because I didn't like the bigger format in the A4. I doubt I'll ever use an A3, but to be fair, I said that about A4 once. I'm not even sure if they make A3, to be fair. They may do. Let's have a look here. No, it doesn't say anything at all about it on here, but I'll have a look. Yeah, I said that about A4 once, so please don't listen to me. I shall put that where I can find it again because we are going to need it. The next thing isn't an art thing at all. It's just a tin I found in a really cute gift shop near here. And these, I tend to collect these tins, especially this size. This is about 10 centimeters, 4 inches, and it's perfect for putting things in. For example, I've got lots of little stubby pencils, which I still use. I'll use that until it disappears into the painted tip. And these sorts of tins are great for that. You can also fit things like, if I grab my Caran d'Ache Neo Arts here, they all fit in. It's just, this is a really useful size. So whenever I see something like this, drop that. we have come to expect a certain standard, I'm sad to say. When I find a tin like this, of this size, that is so convenient but fits an enormous amount of stuff in, I will buy it, especially if it's a cute design, and this one is a very cute design. So yeah, very nice addition, and about the same size as this palette. And I would say the palette, not the container, but the palette would fit in there. Not that that would serve any useful purpose whatsoever, but you know, if you wanted to do that, it would fit. Right, what have we got in here, and what have we got in the boxes? Let's get rid of that, because that's a crinkly loud thing. So we can pop these. We've got some watercolors, and I've also got somebody at the door. I shall be back very, very shortly. About that somebody at the door. That is one of the hazards of working from home. You sort of, the doorbell goes, the dog goes. I didn't hear the doorbell. I suspect it isn't working. But anyway, the postman managed to find somebody, and that's dealt with. Right, where were we? We're on to little boxes of things, not necessarily what it says on the box, but anyway. Pan Pastel, this is another one for my collection, and what I wanted was a really bright blue, not bright, but more saturated blue. My favourite, oh God, I'm never going to find it without, if you hear an absolute crash, you will know that the worst has happened. Actually managed here. I tried to organise myself by putting everything that I needed for a video that I'm taking for my Patreons this afternoon. I put it all into a little box, and I thought, oh, that's all nice and organised. I then spent what felt like 40 minutes looking for one of my pastels in a box, only to remember, oh, you put it in the box there to be organised, didn't you? Yeah, well, that's not working. This is my usual go-to sky colour, but sometimes the colour is this. And if I mix these two together, I will also reach a nice, rich summertime sky colour. So this one has been bought to add to the collection. That's going to slide. Sorry, just a bit work off camera there. This one's been bought to add to the collection so that I can do some more fully saturated skies. And of course, that means water too, because as I'm sure you're aware, when you paint the sky, whatever's in the sky, if you've got a body of water anywhere, even if it's just a puddle, it will reflect what's around it. It hasn't got its own colour necessarily. It will reflect the sky mostly. If it's a, you know, say you've got a lake or the sea or something like that, you'll always get some sky colour in the water. So it's a good idea. I clean my sponge when I apply this to the sky. There's always a little bit left over on the applicator, so I put it in the water to make sure that it's sort of, everything is right in the universe and it's reflecting it. This here, pencils. I have a couple of needs, I think. I think that's all this was, nothing very exciting. My favourite green ochre. What this was when I bought this, I was about €3 or €4.50, some silly amount, off free postage and delivery. And when I think about it, that free postage and delivery here in Germany means about €7.95, and these pencils are about £3, I thought I will get a couple of pencils. So this is what these are. I needed a black one, and this is my favourite green ochre, the best Caran d'Ache pencil ever. So I buy these in multiples if I have a horror of running out of green ochre. So that's what that's for. I will swatch all that for you and show you. And so speaking of, this is, right, got just enough nail to open it, which is good because you didn't have to witness the full tantrum. I always try to open a box nicely in a ladylike manner, but it usually ends up in an all-in wrestle, screaming match on the floor, legs everywhere, that sort of thing. It didn't this time. I haven't got it open yet, so it could still happen. Right, Caran d'Ache have released for their 50th anniversary some new colours. They've put them into these gorgeous little tins, which open the opposite way. Okay, fair dues. We're on the continent. Normally things open this. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. What they've done is they've released a few new colours, and of course they've put them into sets which are curated, and then a few of the other colours are exactly the same as the old range. So I've doubled up on those, but I've gained 2 new colours. And what attracted me to this was Caput Mortuum, my absolute favourite purpley browny colour, which is this one. And this one is Dark Garnet. That's a new one as well. I don't think any of the others are. Grey, no. These are all regular colours, and we've already got them. We'll swatch those in a second and I'll show you. But the one I'm really after is this. And yes, I spent 23 euros on a set of things I've got already just for this, because at this point in time, these are not available open stock. There are about 6 special edition sets. There may be less, there may be more, but I'm not buying all of them because I've got most of the colours. And right, I can see something happening in there. We need a pair of scissors here. I've got a pair of scissors. Oh, I see. It's got a little swatch card in there as well, which I almost certainly wouldn't use. But yes, Caput Mortuum and Dark Garnet are the 2 new colours for that. And it's basically, all right, 5 special editions, which would make sense considering it is the 50th anniversary. So for the 50th anniversary of Neocolor 2 Aquarelle, Caran d'Ache is unveiling 5 special editions containing original colours. Developed especially for this anniversary, these exclusive shades celebrate the colour expertise of Caran d'Ache. Yeah, so I don't know if they'll be available later on as open stock. If they're not, then I'm going to end up with a hell of a lot of Caran d'Ache, because there are another 4 sets, and I'll probably get them because full set syndrome. And I like the dark colours better because I like moody dark colours in my work. So, oh goodness, we're not meant to open this, obviously. Right, tantrum averted thanks to a pair of scissors. This is, gosh, it looks like bubble gum, but it probably isn't. This is White Nights. It's a watercolour, and it is a Russian one, I believe. Orange Mist, Scarlet Mist and Grey Rose Mist. And what I'm doing at the moment, because I love watercolour, but what I love most about watercolour are the super granulating colours. And I think I'm not alone in that. So I'm exploring some different brands. I've got the Schminker ones, the Schminker super granulating ones in the sets and so forth. They were around a couple of years ago, and they're gorgeous. But there are others, so I'm sort of exploring the others. So this looks like a full pan of these. So that's that one. And then we've got, wait a minute, what's in here? Oh, this is, yes, this is what I made up my, now it's freight free. I bought 2 white Caran d'Ache Neo Art 6901 oil wax pastels. These go with the rest of the set that I've got here already. That's the whole lot of them. These are the ones that I couldn't get. It didn't matter where I was shopping, these were sold out. So I bought 2 because white is a colour that you use a lot, so they can go in there as well. They're really good as well. I love them. It took me a while. I wasn't quite sure where they fit into my mixed media practice, to be fair. But once I decided, then, yeah, no, I love them. Right. Oh, we've got a mixture in here. I have recently also discovered, and a lot of other people have as well, because they're everywhere at the minute, Mijello Mission. I'm not sure if that is being said correctly, but they are granulating watercolours. They're 2-colour watercolours, and I have their tourmaline granulation watercolour. I've got a few of those because the colours are stunning. This one is a Holbein Mars Violet. This one is a Holbein Shell Pink watercolour. I don't think they're granulating, actually. I think they're just regular. But these here are all the Mijello Mission ones. Making sure that I'm still on camera. Mud Umber, that's nice. Green Ochre. Oxide Blue. This lot here, same deal. I allowed myself a certain amount because there's been mixed reviews on these. forest green, bronze brown, and coffee brown. Dog still thinks there's somebody there. I'll just wait for her to be quiet. Yes, Days, thank you. Right. It is what it is. There have been a few reviews mixed about these as to whether they're really a really good granulator or whether they're just sort of somewhere in the middle. What they are is awfully good value because 15mm is the smallest tube you can buy. That looks like it's had a bit of an adventure. This is the 5mm tube, which is the normal size. Now you can get 2.5 half pans refill out of this, and that's why I buy the tubes rather than the pans. This was unavoidable. They only had them. That's all I could get. Normally I will buy tubes because at the end of the time when I've squeezed absolutely every morsel out, I will then cut along there, cut round here and cut down the middle, open them out and use the last bit, even if it's dry. That's the great thing about watercolor, and it's the great thing about traditional gouache too. Not acrylic gouache, but traditional gouache. What on earth have I done here? There's another few. This was me who in February said, no, I don't know that I like watercolor. I'm going to get rid. Here we are buying new ones. Right. Jaune Brilliant, Holbein. I think these are all no, they're not. Glacier Blue, the Schminke Horodam. I had a few gaps in my collection and we can't have that. Holbein Olive Green, Glacier Turquoise, Holbein Jaune Brilliant number 1. Oh, and there's a Jaune Brilliant number 2. So I did get both of those. And another Glacier Blue. How did I get two? No, Galaxy Blue. Sorry, glass is not working. I was going to, because that is absolutely me all over, to buy the same colour 5 times and miss all the others out completely. So that is the addition to the watercolour set. These are all new. Some of these aren't. These are. These certainly aren't. But when I bought these sets, they were very difficult actually to get all of them in some cases. So I'm sort of making up now because they're now available open stock. Right, I think it's time we did some swatching and see exactly what I've got here. Very nice way to christen a new sketchbook, and this is the one I showed you a little earlier. Nice way to christen it is to swatch into it. So that doesn't need to be, nor does that. I'll start with the pencils, and this way I might be able to show you how much texture there is on here. This is just a plain black pencil, but as you can see it's sort of a medium texture, so not masses, but in order to get any sort of real sort of colour, you've got to press quite hard if you want to get lines, whereas on a smoother paper you simply don't need to do that. But as you can see, there is nice texture. This is my favorite. That's just a plain black because I needed a black. This one is my I'm terrified of running out of this color green. So I use that for so many things in the summer, especially. It's my absolute go-to. Love it. Let's have a look at the pan pastel next, because I have actually taken the plastic rim off here because that can be a bit of a tug of war, and I use little sponge applicators as a rule. I think most people do. Now do bear in mind that I am not a proper pastel artist. I'm a mixed media artist, so I use all of these things, but I use them in my own way. And as I think you can see there, that is a particularly nice summer blue. I put it off for absolutely ages because I kept looking at it and thinking that is just too alarmingly blue. The sky just isn't that colour. But in actual fact, when it's on the white of the paper and it's in use, yes, the sky is that colour, and it's frequently that colour, especially where I live here in Germany. We get beautiful summer skies, and that's not an unusual colour. So I stand very much corrected. I won't swatch these for obvious reasons, but these are, again, stay with me with my videos and you will see exactly how I use them. This is going to take some getting used to because it feels really upside down. Okay, we'll leave the best to last. So this one is Payne's Grey. Now with these, again, this is, as I said in the preamble, there's a lot of different products here, but trust me, they fit together beautifully in practice. But we'll just have a look. That's sepia. We'll have a look at the moment at the colours and what they look like when they're swatched out, because we do that with the when they're dissolved out. I'll do that with a bit of water. Olive brown. These are a lot of my colours that I use a lot of anyway, and I'm not sorry to have two. And I've got a nice, if upside down, little tin to put them in. That one is brown. I love the way they change. You know, they've got Payne's grey, sepia, olive brown, brown. What did that one do wrong that it couldn't have? Zinc ochre. These are much more imaginative names. You would think that they could do something a bit better. Everybody does it too. I like that, and I know I've got it somewhere, but I don't actually think I have. And I'm sorry, I'm going to check. Sorry, do bear with. Sorry about reaching across here. Just trying to find my browns. And it's almost certainly this one. Ochre. No, it's not. It's not that one. Raw sienna. Ochre. So I've got two ochres. But I don't remember. I've got three ochres. I mean, this is the point. You've got to be a special kind of stupid, don't you? Complaining about money 1 minute, I don't a lot, I don't think. But, you know, if I did complain about money and then finding out that I've spent 3 times what I should have by buying the same colour 3 times. In my defence, I did buy these for going out kits. And I hate having to go through the kit at the end of the time. Where's this one? Where's that one? I just want to grab my kit and go. I don't want to have to check what's in it. So then when I decided that I didn't think going outside and painting was for me, then they all got put in the same box together. So now there are hundreds of everything. So that one I don't think I've got. And here are my other browns. It certainly isn't in there. The only other place it might be is in the orange box. And I don't think it is. Definitely not. Well, that is a very nice surprise. These boxes, by the way, I found on Amazon as well, and they're just perfect for this. No brand, just wherever. Right, I've got 3 colours then that I've never had before because I don't have that. And that is a very nice, sort of mid-range neutral. It'll get a lot of use. Crimson alizarin hue, and when you see the word hue, it means that it's an imitation form of the colour and is therefore safer in many cases, especially when we're talking about cobalt or cadmium colours. If it's got the word hue behind it, it means it's not the real one, and the real one can be dangerous. Moss green, especially if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. They are not recommended. And then lucky last for the ones that I've got already is grey. And then massive drum roll for the first 2 of the special edition. And to be fair to them, they're labelled special edition. That one's not. Yes, it is. Special edition. This one is dark garnet, which is a really nice colour. And this is my pièce de résistance, is Caput Mortuum. Nice and dark. That's really lovely. I'm going to do a tutorial sketch with these because I'm just trying to decide what, but really nice colours. These will be good around Halloween as well because they're lovely and dark. So Payne's grey, and as you can see, they're useful as a watercolour. However, there is no law at all, I've looked, against you using them as just pastels and not dissolving them. And in a lot of cases, you can dissolve the underlayer, allow it to dry, and then come back over the top and draw over the top with another one of them and layer up that way. There are so many ways of using them. I don't reach for them as often as I should. I really don't. And sometimes when I get them out and do something with them, that bothers me because I'm thinking, I could be enjoying these a lot more instead of just saying that I do. But like most people, I get into a rut. Right, this is the zinc ochre that I hadn't got. It's a very nice colour, really lovely. It's just got the right amount of warmth in it as well. And this is the alizarin crimson one. Suitably blood stained for Halloween. Yeah, I think I'll trot these out for some time then. This one's moss. Gosh, look at me remembering the colours properly. I can sometimes, and other times I just look at them and think I've never seen that colour before. Of course, yes, I have, because it's been used and I'm the only one here. Grey, and then the dark garnet. This is a new one. Nice. Really nice blackberry colour. And caput mortuum. Oh, how nice is that? Look at that. I have caput mortuum in everything that offers it. I'm going to give this one a bit more because just so you can see it. Isn't that lovely? To me, that is the perfect dark purple. Very nice indeed. So super happy with that. Right, let's open these White Nights. But like I said, it looks like bubble gum. I don't normally buy them like this, as I said, but sometimes you've no choice. Okay, it's not got anything on here, so I'm going to keep the shredded wrapper because there is a number and I can match it up when I swatch it into my palette. This one is Orange Mist. I think with super granulating colours, you've got to give them enough space and you've got to give them enough water to swim in. They don't mind being bullied about a bit either, but they do not want little tiny spaces to do their magic in. They won't thank you for it. Right, just trying to open that one like a grown-up. This one is Grey Rose Mist. It's kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit bright for my liking. Let's have a look at this one. That's quite nice. It looks very green in the pan, but actually when it's brought out, and again, add more water to it and let it swim. You also can't really accurately test a super granulating colour until it's dry, because it will change subtly as it goes through all the stages it's got to go through. This one is Scarlet Mist. Again, looks very brown in the pot, which could be one of its colours. So it's plenty of pigment and plenty of water. Not all super granulating colours will separate out into various colours either. Sometimes they just give you a texture, which is also nice. This one is the Holbein Jaune Brilliant number 2. Just going to sneak some out of the tube there. This is not necessarily going to granulate. I wanted this because I want these colours. It's quite an opaque looking colour, actually. This one's Jaune Brilliant number 1, doing everything in the correct order as usual. And again, not granulating, just another version. These colours, even things that you consider boring like beige and things like that, they are super useful when you come to a landscape or something, you know, with a house in it. Bright colours, gosh, yes, it's done its thing. Holbein a little bit famous for that. Let me just try to shut the drawer here and grab another tin. Holbein colours do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it do it properly by putting it into its tin and popping a lid back on there, because that's where it's going to end up anyway. Like I said, small tins. If you see them and they're cute, buy them in bulk. They are very useful to have in your kit. Right, so this is Shell Pink, and I do like Holbein's pinks. I'm not a pink person as a rule, but they have their uses in landscape, and I love the pinks that Holbein achieve. So that's a Shell Pink. That's going to be useful. But yeah, they do that. Here's another one. Here's Mars Violet. Probably shouldn't have put the things away because it will come out precipitously without even being squeezed. I'm not quick. Haha, I won that one. Again, like this, that marries beautifully with that. I will often do that actually. Have the same colour in different sorts of media because you can use it so many different ways. It's going to give it a bit more water and lift some out. So yeah, those are the Holbeins. Very nice. Oh, actually, hang on. We have one more, olive green. I dare say I'll get my comeuppance now, thinking that I won the last one. This one's going to come out as well. Like I said, we can just squeeze it into a pan. I've always got hundreds of these on hand because you can build palettes with them. So this one is olive green. Nice. I can tell straight away I'm going to love that. That will get a lot of use. That's that particular yellow green that I love most. So yeah, it goes nicely with that. It goes nicely with that. Just pop that there to dry. So very nice Holbein colours. I'm happy with those. And some of them, as you can see, they're a hell of a lot more opaque than others. That happens. Right, let's have a look at the Schminke Horadam. These are the super granulating ones that I have got to fill in the gaps in my collection. This one is Glacier Turquoise. I'm not going to fill in all the gaps, I don't think. Some of they're sadly a little bit on the boring side. You'd think being super granulating would solve the problem, but it doesn't always. Let's give it some more water and bully it about a bit. Normally you'd have to say to people, don't overwork this or don't overwork that. Some of these watercolours, that doesn't apply. You still don't want to overwork it, but they can be sort of moved about a bit and encouraged to do what you've paid them to do. Right, and that one's Galaxy Blue. And finally for this lot, this one's Glacier Blue. Gosh, that's startling. Really all this is a super granulating form of what looks like a primary blue. So you can mix them. They'll do different things then. And like I said, as a mixed media artist, I don't necessarily paint with them the way they're supposed to be. Yeah, that works. Right, so those are the three that I've added to. Now, this is quite the exciting bit. These Mijello Mission. And like I said, I'm not sure if I'm massacring the name. I apologise to anybody who is listening from Korea who knows how to say it. But see how we go. Like I said, these have had mixed reviews. Some people have, said that they don't granulate brilliantly. And other people have found that they can't use anything else now, so we'll see. Right, that one's green ochre. Let's start with the greens. Mountain green is the next one I've got. What I'm loving about them is, and this I'll forgive them if they don't granulate because they're lovely muted colours. and there's quite a generous sized tube at 15 ml. The rest are 5 ml tubes, and yeah, these are not really expensive compared to the others. Like some of these are €7 and these are only 8. So, I mean, only 8, but with 3 times the amount of paint. Right, so I'm not sure what this one wants to do. Give it some more water and let it go. Like I said, you can bully it a bit. Don't muck around too much, obviously, and if the paper starts to peel, that's the too much limit. But wait till they dry. This one is copper green. It shows potential early on. So like I said, even though they may not, it's forest green, they may not granulate as much as some do, they're still beautiful, beautiful colours. What have we got here? Oh, very blue. Oh my goodness, look what's happening to this one. How gorgeous. That'll get a bigger swatch just to show you. It starts out a real blue and then becomes this. How nice. Okay, well that's the clear winner there. Wow. Forest green. The others, they're doing something, but that one's really doing most of all. Let's go to blue, oxide blue. I've no idea what I was thinking when I chose these colours, mainly trying to bite my tongue and not buy all of them, because that's what I do. But I paint nature, so these are all the sorts of natural muted colours that a person who enjoys painting nature might choose. Oxide blue, right, quite nice. It's got a little pinky granulation coming. Mud umber, that name really intrigues me because it could be anything. It's quite muddy looking. Okay, let's see. But gosh, forest green is beautiful. As you can see, this one is it's getting a little bit better. There's one thing I can say early on, and of course this is without them being dried, which of course they have to be. Bronze brown is this one, and that is, they do not granulate anywhere near as much as you see on the samples when you're buying. So they're nothing like that. So that then remains to ask the question, are they considered adequately granulating, or if they're not, do you still like the colours? Because you can still buy them even though they don't do what they promise, and they certainly aren't. But a couple of them look like if they'd quite like to, but they're just not doing what you see on the sales page, sadly. We'll have a proper look when they're all dry. This last one is coffee brown. Nice rich brown. I'm not going to send them back, but they're not as, you know, some of them are more granulating than others, but these are pretty good actually, and I really, really like the rich colours and the muted colours. Right, and that's our lot. Let's dry these. I'll just use my drying tool and I shall come back very, very shortly. Right, they're all nicely dry, and which is at the point where they've stopped doing what they're going to do. There is a thought that says allowing them to naturally dry is better than forcing dry. I'm just using, like I said, this Ranger heat tool, which I use for my card making. You could use a hairdryer as well, but everything will have an effect. So starting with the 3 White Nights from Russia here, this one, which is the Scarlet Mist, I believe. Yes, Scarlet Mist, that's my favourite granulation wise. This one's a nice grey though, this grey rose mist. The orange mist, if I hadn't, oh gosh, it's not particularly dry, or there's something on my finger. Had I not bought that one, the world wouldn't have wobbled on its axis very much, to be fair. So those aren't too bad. The Holbeins aren't supposed to be super granulating, especially these 3. I wanted these for my own nefarious reasons, and I like the fact that there's a really lovely pink there. It's not too lolly pink. I'd still even call that muted. This Naples Yellow number 2, no, Jaune Brilliant, not Naples Yellow, Jaune Brilliant number 2 is almost an apricot. And these are super, super, super useful, these sorts of colours. And you'd be amazed how many times they occur in a landscape. The 3 Schminke ones, they are nice. They'll fit in quite well. They're not grabbing me in any meaningful way either. They're no better than the ones I had from other sets. So I think I'm going to call it quits with the Schminke Super Granulation unless they come up with something fabulous. There are 1 or 2 in the sets that are really, really very nice. I think I can actually grab my book here. I made some little sort of swatches here. Some pebble swatches. These are the ones that I've got already, and to be fair, this blue here is very similar to this blue here, but it's not the same one. So it feels like a double up, and it may be actually maybe the same one, and I've decided to get it in a tube because I liked it, who knows. But I'll use them. There are better ones here though. See, some of these, what I like when I say a super granulating colour is I do like the texture that some give, but what I also like is obviously when it splits off into 2 colours. So that's quite nice. The haze pink is a good one for that too. Very nice. And then I've got some of these others here. So yeah, there are gaps. That's what these are. These represent gaps. This set will be filled, but the Glacier probably won't be. I've got some Holbein super granulating ones. Love the Trumpet Vine Red. Daybreak Orange is almost identical to the White Nights Scarlet Mist. So yeah, that didn't need to be bought. What needed to be done was me looking through here and seeing what I've got already. The biggest disappointment of the whole lot is the Lunar Black from Daniel Smith. Honestly, expected a lot better. It's not great. Anyway, that is a whole different side trip. So they're great. Now, the main star of the show here, of course, oh, that's quite granular, actually. That makes me want to put pencil over the top. Yeah, see, it goes over all of them, but this one in particular, really white. I can feel the difference in all of them. So that one. These are the real star of the show. Like I said, they've got mixed reviews, and I can see why the reviews are mixed, because in my opinion, they don't look anything much like what's on the sales page. This one is the closest. Some of these others, they are underwhelming compared to what I thought I was buying, if I'm honest. None of this is sponsored. I buy my own stuff so I can say what I like. I mean, you can say what you like anyway, but you know what I mean. And I still like them because I like the muted colours. So even though they've not granulated brilliantly, they have granulated enough to make me rate them as a watercolour. I like the amount of paint that I've got for my money. And I love the muted colours. So they are still a yes from me, actually, even though they're not like you see on the page. But there is some granulation. This one, that's particular. See, I love these yellowy greens. I'm attracted to those colour greens rather than a bluier green. This has made me rethink that, because this is a bluey green and it's one of the nicest. So who knows, but I would still say it is a yes to those because they have done a really good job. Now what I'm going to do just before we go, because I tend to use the same nib all the time, so I've not used some of these other nibs very much at all. So I'm going to just pop that in and see what it can do. Nice broad lines, that's for sure. Gosh, it feels very good to use. So that's the bigger one. Because I tend to use my pens as a last, the last sort of layer on the painting will be, I'm not dipping it in water, try dipping in ink, you get a hell of a lot better result. This ink pot's not quite big enough for that. Gee, I'd like to keep something nice and clean just once. Slightly less thick line, although capabilities are there. And as you can see from this paper, you actually get a nice fine detail. Even though it's got a little bit of texture on the paper, the detail is still there. So no, these are good actually. I'm super pleased that these were recommended to me, and thank you again. And the then tiny, tiny little one on the end. I think the biggest problem in this ink pot is I'm running out of ink. Very fine. Oh, wow. Very nice indeed. As you would expect, I mean, I once bought a computer because it had gaming capabilities. I don't game. However, people who do game won't put up with rubbish. So based on that premise, I went and bought a computer that had the sort of capabilities that they would rate as good. And it was a good idea. It turned out to be a very good purchasing strategy. So much the same here. People who deal with one or two mediums and manga where you require precision, they're not going to put up with something that's not working brilliantly. So sometimes, even though you're not into that yourself, think about and ask yourself, what are the things that those people who do that, even professionally, want? And then you might, you know, it's a fairly good strategy for purchasing something, especially when it's expensive like a computer. But no, these are really interesting. Very nice indeed. So that's the art haul this time. I'm actually really pleased with it. Like I said, these, they're not exactly like that. Some of them are, most of them aren't, but I'd still say that they're worth the spend because of the amount and the beautiful, beautiful pigments. So I'm still going to probably go and get the whole set, actually, of the Magello ones. I'll probably get the whole set of the Holbeins as well, because although I'm not keen on the Holbein pencils as much, then they can't hold a candle to some of the others, like the Derwent Lightfast and Caran d'Ache Luminance. But they have their place, and the colours are often what's needed. For example, when you buy a beautiful set like Derwent Drawing, adore Derwent Drawing, but they're slightly thicker and they don't have all the colours that I tend to want. And if another coloured pencil range has the colours that you want, that's when it's worthwhile going in and saying, well, I'll get a couple of those. If you've got full set syndrome like me, you end up with a complete mess and you've got all the colours in everything and never use half of them. But funny enough, though, it's really strange because I think that sometimes. I think I'm not going to use a Barbie pink. I loathe Barbie pink. It's not a colour, you know, I don't want to use it very often. Every now and again I realise, you know what, the only colour that's suitable here is Barbie pink. Then I think, right, okay, well, that's just taught me, hasn't it? Like, I've managed to get landed with this, quite famously, with this sketch ink, which is really, really bright. However, in an ink, I can use that colour to tone down green, and it becomes a beautiful muted green with that pink in it. So that's not wasted. Coloured pencils are a little bit more fraught because although you can mix them, and frequently people do, it is a whole lot more difficult to do so. So, you know, full set syndrome can be a bit debilitating at one end. If you're one of the high functioning sufferers where you can control it, you'll have a lot of fun. Some people, however, you know, when, you know, the kids are not eating, but you've got a wonderful shade of blue that you're never going to use in a pencil. That's the moral argument. Thinking, right, okay, time to get the therapists in, I think. And on that note, I'm going to go and I'm going to use some of these. I'm going to do some writing first because that's what I'm supposed to be doing this afternoon. But really, really enjoyed showing you these. I hope you enjoyed seeing them. Like I said, there's some surprises in here. This set from Caran d'Ache, yes, I've got a few of them. Doesn't matter. You use them over the time. They last for bloody donkey's years. This is the thing. They don't go off as such. I'm still using oil pastels that my son got when he was in his first year of primary school. First day of primary school, actually got given a set of oil pastels. God knows why, because they're not really for this. They're not great for beginners. He's now 28 years old and I'm still using his oil pastels. He never did, but I'm using them. So they don't go off. So if you get a double up, fine. And like I said, make up a kit for the car. Make up a kit for en plein air painting. Make up a kit for going out with things. Actually, one of my Patreons had that idea with a car kit. It's genius. Christy, thank you. I'm going to out you there as a genius. It's fabulous. I love the idea. And you can put them in the car, and then if you're stuck somewhere or if you're waiting for somebody, pull your things out and sketch. It's also better than actually going outside and painting, which can feel very exposed. So if you're sort of new to it, car sketching is a good way. It's a good sort of middle ground, and you're still protected. So maybe that's something I'll do next year. I've been saying that since I was 5. I'm going now. And I shall use these. Please have a lovely day. And I hope you get some art time in. And I shall see you next time. Don't forget, join my Patreon and learn how to use these and use them together, because they don't necessarily look like if they go together, but they do. And also meet some wonderful people and get some art lessons if that is what would make you happy. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now. Bye.